Most people think big change requires big effort. They believe that if they want to transform their health, their finances, their relationships, or their career, they need to overhaul everything all at once, set a massive goal, summon extraordinary willpower, push through the discomfort until the results arrive. And when that approach fails, which it almost always does, they blame themselves. They tell themselves they are lazy or undisciplined, or simply not the kind of person who follows through. James Clear has spent years studying why this story is wrong. And in Atomic Habits, one of the most widely read books of the last decade, he makes a single argument that changes everything. Forget the goals, build the systems, because it is not your ambition that determines your future. It is your daily habits. Welcome to CosmiReads. I am so glad you are here for video 7 in our series. And this one is a big one. If you have been with us from the beginning, you have covered a lot of ground together. Think and Grow Rich gave you the burning desire and the definite plan. The Secret introduced the law of attraction. Esther and Jerry Hicks gave you the emotional guidance scale and 22 processes for raising your vibration. Dr. Joe Dispenza showed you how to rewire your brain through meditation and elevated emotion. Joseph Murphy gave you the programming manual for your subconscious mind. Hal Elrod gave you the morning structure that activates all of it. And now James Clear gives you the missing piece that makes everything stick. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. You can know every manifestation principle in existence. You can understand the neuroscience. You can have the perfect morning routine written out on paper. But if your daily habits are not aligned with the person you are trying to become, none of it compounds. Atomic Habits is the system that closes that gap. James Clear opens the book with his own story. In May of 2003, a baseball bat shattered his face. He was a freshman in high school, and a teammate accidentally struck him during practice. Clear suffered a broken nose, multiple fractures around his eye socket, and traumatic brain injury severe enough that he was flown to hospital by emergency helicopter. He was in a coma for days. His recovery took months. By the time he returned to school, he had lost significant ground, physically, academically, and in baseball, the sport he loved. He worked his way back slowly, not through one dramatic effort, but through small, consistent daily improvements. He got a little better at his habits each week. By his senior year, he was named to the all-state academic team. In college, he made the ESPN Academic All-America team, one of only 33 players in the entire country. None of it came from a single breakthrough. All of it came from tiny improvements compounding over time. That personal experience became the foundation for everything in Atomic Habits. Clear's central insight is what he calls the aggregation of marginal gains. The idea that a 1% improvement every single day in any system, any skill, any habit compounds to an improvement of 37 times over the course of one full year. 1% better every day for 365 days equals 37 times better. Not 2 times, not 5 times, 37 times. The mathematics of small habits are almost impossible to believe until you see them working in your own life. But here's the problem. Clear identifies. And this is the reason most people never experience this compounding. A 1% improvement is nearly invisible in the short term. You go to the gym today, and tomorrow you look exactly the same. You meditate for 10 minutes this morning, and this afternoon, your mind is just as reactive as it was yesterday. You write one page of your book, and the book still looks empty. The gains are real, but they are hidden beneath the surface. Clear calls this the valley of disappointment. You expect to see results in a linear progression, a straight line upward from effort to outcome. But habits do not work in straight lines. They work in curves. For a long time, nothing visible happens. Then suddenly the results appear all at once, as if from nowhere, because the compound interest finally crossed a threshold you could see. Clear calls this breakthrough moment the plateau of latent potential. And the tragedy is that most people quit somewhere in the valley just before the plateau arrives, because the results have not yet become visible. Understanding this changes everything, because it means consistency is not just a discipline virtue, it is a mathematical strategy. Every day you show up is a day of invisible compounding that will eventually surface in a way that looks like overnight transformation. Now, before we get into the 4 laws, there is one concept from Atomic Habits that you absolutely need to understand because it connects everything you have already learned in this series. Clear makes a distinction between 2 types of change: outcome-based habits and identity-based habits. Outcome-based habits focus on what you want to achieve. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to write a book. I want to double my income. The goal is the focus. Identity-based habits focus on who you want to become. I am someone who moves their body every morning. I am a writer. I am someone who builds wealth. The identity is the focus. Clear argues, and the research strongly supports him, that identity-based habits are dramatically more sustainable because every action you take is either a vote for or against the person you want to be. When you go to the gym, you cast a vote for being the kind of person who moves their body. When you write a single paragraph, you cast a vote for being a writer. You do not need a perfect record. You need a majority of votes. And here's why this connects so directly to everything from our series. Joseph Murphy told you your subconscious mind executes whatever identity program you have installed. Dr. Joe Dispenza told you that you cannot think greater than how you feel, and you cannot feel differently until you act differently. The Miracle Morning gave you daily practices that affirm your new identity every single morning. Atomic Habits gives you the system for casting identity votes all day long. Not just in your morning routine, but in every micro decision from the moment you wake until the moment you sleep. Consider someone named Sophia. She had been trying to build a consistent reading habit for 3 years. She set goals, read 12 books this year. She bought books. She put them on her nightstand. Then life happened, and weeks would pass without opening a single one. When she discovered Clear's identity framing, something shifted. She stopped saying, "I want to read more books," and started saying, "I am a reader. That is who I am." Then she asked a different question. What would a reader do right now? A reader would read 1 page before bed. Just 1 page, not a chapter, not a session. 1 page. She started doing exactly that. Within 2 weeks, 1 page had become 5 pages. Within a month, it had become 20 minutes. Within 6 months, she had finished 11 books, more than she had read in the previous 3 years combined. The goal had never worked. The identity worked immediately. Let us now go deep into the 4 laws of behavior change, the heart of everything Clear teaches. Each law addresses one of the 4 stages that every habit moves through: the cue, the craving, the response, the reward. He calls this the habit loop, and every habit you have, good or bad, is running this exact 4-stage loop in your brain dozens of times every day. The first law is make it obvious. Clear teaches that most of our habits are invisible to us. We do not consciously choose them in the moment. They are triggered automatically by cues in our environment. The problem is that most people design their environment by default. Their phone is on the kitchen counter, so they check it every time they walk past. Their running shoes are in the wardrobe, so they never see them until they are already tired and unmotivated. Clear says the most powerful change you can make is redesigning your environment so that the cues for your good habits are visible and the cues for your bad habits are invisible. He calls this environment design, and he argues it is far more powerful than relying on motivation or willpower, both of which are unreliable and depletable resources. He also introduces a technique called habit stacking, linking a new habit to an existing one using a simple formula. After I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. After I make my morning coffee, I will write in my journal for 5 minutes. After I sit down at my desk, I will identify my 3 most important tasks. The existing habit becomes the cue for the new one. No willpower required. A man named Marcus had been struggling to meditate consistently for 2 years. He had every intention of meditating each morning, but most days he would finish his shower and immediately reach for his phone. The meditation cushion was in another room, out of sight, out of mind. He redesigned his environment based on Clear's first law. He placed his meditation cushion directly in the path between his bathroom and his kitchen. He literally could not walk to make coffee without stepping over it. He paired it with habit stacking. After I shower, I will sit on my cushion. Within 1 week, he had the most consistent meditation streak of his life. The habit had not changed. The environment had. That is the power of making it obvious. The second law is make it attractive. Clear introduces a concept he calls temptation bundling, pairing a habit you want to do with a habit you need to do. You are allowed to watch your favorite television series only while you are on the exercise bike. You are allowed to listen to your favorite podcast only while you are doing your meal prep. The enjoyment of the thing you want makes the habit you need more appealing. He also explains the role of dopamine in habit formation, and this is fascinating for anyone who has studied Dispenza's work. Dopamine is not just released when you experience a reward. It is released in anticipation of the reward. The craving phase of the habit loop is where the most powerful neurological activity happens. This means that if you can make the anticipation of a good habit feel genuinely exciting by pairing it with something you love, you are working with your brain chemistry rather than against it. Think about how this applies to your morning routine. If you only allow yourself to listen to your favorite music during your morning exercise, or only allow yourself to drink your favorite tea during your journaling practice, you have turned obligation into anticipation. You are not dragging yourself to the habit. You are looking forward to it. The third law is make it easy. And this is the law that trips up the most ambitious people, because ambitious people believe that difficulty signals importance. They think making something hard is a sign of commitment. Clear argues the opposite. Friction is the enemy of consistency. And the less friction between you and your good habits, the more likely you are to actually do them. He introduces the 2-minute rule. perhaps the most practically powerful idea in the entire book. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to read more? The habit is open the book, not read for 30 minutes, just open it. Want to meditate? The habit is sit on the cushion, not complete a 20-minute session, just sit down. Want to exercise? The habit is put on your workout shoes, not complete a full workout, just put the shoes on. The logic is counterintuitive but powerful. You are not optimizing for the duration of the habit. You are optimizing for showing up, because a 2-minute habit done every single day builds the identity of someone who shows up, and that identity is far more valuable than any individual session. A woman named Priya had been trying to establish a consistent exercise habit for years. Every attempt had followed the same pattern. She would commit to 5 days a week at the gym. She would go hard for 10 days, exhaust herself, miss one session, feel guilty, miss another, and quit entirely by week 3. When she applied the 2-minute rule, she set her habit as simply driving to the gym parking lot. That was it. She was allowed to turn around and drive home. She never did. Once she was in the car and in the parking lot, she always went in. But by removing the pressure of the full workout from the decision, she removed the resistance that had been stopping her at the starting line. She built an unbroken streak of 43 days, then 60, then 90. The habit had not changed. The decision point had been moved back to 2 minutes. That single insight gave her what 3 years of ambitious commitments had not. The fourth and final law is make it satisfying. Clear identifies what he calls the cardinal rule of behavior change. Behaviors that are immediately rewarded get repeated. Behaviors that are immediately punished get avoided. The problem with most good habits is that the reward is delayed. You eat well today, but the health benefit arrives in months. You save money today, but financial freedom arrives in years. You meditate today, but the neurological change arrives in weeks. Meanwhile, bad habits offer immediate reward. The sugar rush, the dopamine hit, the relief of procrastination. To build good habits, you need to find a way to make the immediate experience of the habit satisfying. Clear recommends habit tracking as one of the most powerful tools for this. Specifically, never missing twice as the master rule. You will miss a day. Life happens. The critical rule is to never miss 2 days in a row. 1 missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is the beginning of a new habit, the habit of not showing up. A simple paper habit tracker where you cross off each day creates what Clear calls a visual measure of your progress. A streak that becomes satisfying to maintain in its own right. The streak itself becomes part of the reward. Now let us bring all 4 laws together with one more story. Daniel had been trying to build a consistent writing habit for his online business for 18 months. He had every motivation. He knew his audience needed his content. He had ideas. He had time blocked. But he was producing sporadically at best. Weeks apart at worst. He applied all 4 laws simultaneously. Make it obvious. He put his laptop open to a blank document on his desk every night before bed. So the first thing he saw in the morning was the open page waiting for him. Make it attractive. He created a rule that his favorite morning playlist was only allowed during writing sessions. Make it easy. He reduced his daily writing habit to 200 words, less than 2 minutes of actual writing. Make it satisfying. He kept a simple calendar on his wall and drew an X through every day he wrote. Within 30 days, he had written more content than in the previous 6 months combined. None of the individual changes were dramatic. Together, they redesigned the entire system around his habit. And the system did the work that motivation alone never could. Let us talk about implementation. 5 ways to apply atomic habits to the practices you have already built in this series. Tip 1. Do an honest habit audit this week. For 1 full day, write down every habit you perform, morning to night. Categorize each as positive, negative, or neutral. Most people have never seen the full picture of their daily behavior. What you cannot see, you cannot change. Tip 2. Identify the one habit that would make everything else easier. Clear calls this a keystone habit. For most people in this community, it is the morning routine from the Miracle Morning. If you anchor everything to that one keystone habit, other good habits stack naturally onto it. Tip 3. Redesign your environment for your most important habit this week. Move the book to the pillow. Put the journal on the kitchen table. Place the meditation cushion in the path to the coffee machine. One environment change is worth more than a month of motivation. Tip 4. Apply the 2-minute rule to any habit you have been struggling to start. Strip it to its smallest possible version. The identity vote matters more than the duration. 5 minutes of meditation every day beats 45 minutes twice a week for building the identity of someone who meditates. Tip 5. Connect your habits directly to your identity statement. Use the language of atomic habits combined with what you built in the subconscious programming work from Joseph Murphy. Write this sentence. I am the kind of person who does blank every single day. Read it every morning. It bridges the gap between the subconscious reprogramming work and the behavioral system that makes it real in the physical world. Here's your 7-day Atomic Habits Challenge. Day 1. Habit audit. Carry a notebook or use your phone to record every habit you perform from the moment you wake until the moment you sleep. Just observe, no judgment. Just see clearly what your current system is actually producing. Day 2. Identity statement. Write a single sentence beginning with, I am the kind of person who, and describe the identity that is most important to you right now. Post it somewhere. You will see it every morning. Day 3. Environment design. Choose your most important habit and redesign one thing in your physical environment to make the cue more obvious. Move something, remove something, add something. Day 4. Apply the 2-minute rule. Take the habit you have been struggling with most and reduce it to its absolute smallest version. 2 minutes or less. Do only that version today. Day 5. Temptation bundling. Choose one habit you need to build and pair it with something you genuinely enjoy. Only allow yourself the enjoyable thing during the habit session. Day 6. Start your habit tracker. A simple calendar on the wall or a page in your journal. Mark an X for every day you complete your most important habit. Begin the streak today. Day 7, full system review. Look at all 4 laws and identify which one is weakest in your current setup. Is your most important habit obvious enough? Attractive enough? Easy enough? Satisfying enough? Make one specific change to address your weakest law and commit to it for the next 30 days. Drop your answer in comments. What is the one law you are strengthening starting today? I read every single comment and I reply to everyone. Atomic Habits is not about becoming extraordinary overnight. It is about building the system that makes extraordinary inevitable. You already have the desire from Napoleon Hill. You already have the emotional map from Esther Hicks. You already have the subconscious program from Joseph Murphy. You already have the morning routine from Hal Elrod. Now you have the daily habit system that makes all of it compound, one tiny vote at a time. Hit that like button if this video added value to your life. Subscribe and hit the bell because we have more incredible books coming in this series. The book and audiobook links plus free downloads are in the description. Thank you for being part of CosmiReads. Manifest, read, rise. See you in the next one.